Today on the spot, we get the latest coming to PlayStation Network and check the highlights from the Jens Pulver fight promoting Supremacy MMA. We also demo Radiant Historia on the DS and Bionic Commando Rearmed 2. Today on the spot.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Today on the Spot. It's Saturday, January 29th. I'm your host, Sophia Tong, and I'm joined by my co-host, Sean McInnes, who's actually here for once.
I am actually on the show. It's been a little while since I've been on here. There was an incident. I don't really want to get into the details of it, but let's just say I'm back, and it's nice to be on the show.
Incident, does that have anything to do with pants?
You mean the time I showed up not wearing pants and Homer says no show for a month for you?
Yeah, I was going to say Homer missed you, but I don't know what the whole pants
No,
ordeal.
Homer banished me. He definitely banished me. But I want to mention this is the American definition of pants and not the English definition. That's a whole different thing. That's gross and weird. American.
So while you were gone, Capcom and Atlas came by to visit. We also have something on Supremacy MMA. I know you're into MMA. So
I love dudes just punching each other. MMA, boxing, taekwondo, I just love punching.
Okay, cool. So before we get into all that, let's check in with the GameSpot news desk.
Hey everyone, it's your GameSpot news update for Saturday, January 29th. I'm Tor Thorson. Wednesday in Tokyo, Sony officially announced its latest on-go gaming device, currently codenamed the Next Generation Portable, or NGP. This new piece of tech sports robust specs and will be out by year's end, supported by software from popular franchises like Uncharted, Resistance, and Call of Duty. However, eager gamers are concerned about one particular detail: its price. According to EDAR analyst Jesse Divnik, the NGP could potentially sell at a price between $300 and $350. The market is ripe for portable high-end gaming. The NGP will be a serious threat to all forms of portable entertainment, he said. After seeing the specs today, if the NGP can't succeed, it is clear that the portable gaming landscape has forever changed, unquote. In other NGP news, two of the top games for the device, Uncharted and Resistance, will not be developed by the studios that created the original series. The Uncharted game is in the works at Sony Bend, the Bend, Oregon-based studio which developed Resistance Retribution for the PSP and the last several Siphon Filter games. As for the NGP edition of Resistance, it is being developed at Nihilistic Software in association with series creator Insomniac Games. Nihilistic has a more varied history, having developed THQ's Conan games, EA's Marvel Nemesis Rise of the Imperfects, and Blizzard's ill-fated StarCraft Ghost. Well, that's it, your GameSpot news update for Saturday, January 29th. For more headlines, head on over to news.gamespot.com.
And that would be your news update for the show. Now, Sophia, as I understand it, big PlayStation Network news this week. They've got stuff to download.
Yes, they do have stuff. I heard Bulletstorm was one, the demo.
Yeah, there's the Bulletstorm demo. I believe Dead Space Extraction is coming as a game on demand that you can download in its entirety.
Ooh,
yeah.
So there's probably a lot more. Let's find out what's happening this week on the PlayStation Network.
This week on PlayStation Network. In downloadable games, be afraid before you were originally afraid in Dead Space Extraction. Battle to stay alive in this on-rail shooter prequel to Dead Space. On Aegis 7, a mysterious marker's been found. When people start going homicidal and growing extra limbs, players must flee for their lives in a bid to escape to the Ishimura, a totally safe planet cracker in orbit. Note that Extraction is already included with all current PlayStation 3 editions of Dead Space 2. Curious? Try the demo. Also notable this week is a significant sale in previous downloadable games such as Comic Crash, Costume Quest, Deathspank, MotorStorm 3D Rift, and several others. In-game demos, kill with style in the Bulletstorm demo. Play through the intense collapse building level in High Scores Echoes mode. Arm yourself with a PMC, flail gun, and screamer pistol, and unleash Bulletstorm's unique combat mechanics to annihilate your foes, and more importantly, top the leaderboards. In-game add-ons, iPet gets the Emergency Pack, Mod Nation Racers adds the Party Hardy mod, Super Street Fighter 4 gets an Ultra Classic Pack, Dead Space 2 releases Content Hazard Pack, Martial Law Pack, and Supernova Pack, and Rock Band 3 gets the David Bowie Pack 2. In-game trailers, watch the Crysis 2 Be the Weapon trailer, Dead Space 2 launch trailer, Back to the Future Behind the Scenes Part 2 Dev Diary, and MotorStorm Apocalypse World's End trailer. That's all the time we have, folks. Join us next week for more This Week on PlayStation Network.
Game Demo!
Hello everyone, and welcome to our daily demo. I am joined by Aram from Atlas, here to show us this DS game called Radiant Historia.
That's right.
Okay, so another JRPG for the DS.
It is a time travel JRPG.
Ooh, okay. So I had a chance to kind of just get started, but I didn't get into the time travel part yet. So tell me about the game. Like, what are its features?
Well, Radiant Historia, and what I'll actually do is I will start counterintuitively. So we
jump
can,
into the game?
we can jump into a little bit of game, but
Okay.
I'll start with the unique combat first, and I'll work my way to the game's narrative.
Okay.
So you play as Stock, who is a special intelligence soldier for the Kingdom of Alistel.
A little emo from what I
He's a little emo, but he's actually, I would say he's less emo than a lot of JRPGs. He's not quite into the, 30 buckled leather outfits and things like that. So you have your party of Marco and Rainy, they're your team, and here we get into the battle. Now, it's a turn-based battle in the traditional sense, but there's a very unique element to the fights in Radiant Historia, and that's this 3x3 grid. So you're able to manipulate your enemies' positions on the battlefield. And ultimately what you want to do is to try to move enemies, and let's see if we have so for example, we have left assault. So we're going to grab this guy up here and move him down to the left, and let's see if we maybe have, we don't have the same ability with Marco, so we'll just grapple him. So we can stack enemies onto, onto one space,
Oh, interesting.
and when we do that, we're actually able to combine our attacks. I'm pretty sure these being flying enemies, I don't know if we're going to be able to get the same result out of them, but when you have a horde of 2 or 3 enemies that you're facing, you're able to go ahead and do that, and that's a very unique but simple strategic element that people we've spoke to who've had a chance to play the game have said they appreciate having that extra element. It has, all of the traditional things you'd expect. You have the elemental abilities, you have skills that obviously you'll develop as the game goes on. Your characters
Turn-based.
obviously will grow up, and you'll have abilities that they can only do as a team. And for the most part, combat is something that any JRPG fan is going to find very familiar. And we'll go ahead and do maybe a couple different spells here that we haven't. It's also incredibly fast-paced, and like a lot of recent Atlas-developed RPGs, and this is Atlas-developed, it is done by in-house by a lot of the key people who worked on Persona games, and some of the folks who worked on Radiata Stories, which is a popular PS2 RPG. We'll go to Auto Battle here, which is a way
Another
to
nice feature.
a nice feature, just speed up a fight that we would otherwise win pretty handily. And again, on the top screen, you can see that things queue up, and you're able to determine who's attacking next. One of the other cool things is the ability to actually switch position with any of your other party members. If you attack and then you got 2 enemies attacking after that, you can actually, if you want to use someone with a special ability, you can swap places
it up.
in the attack queue, which is another really cool thing.
So tell me about the story. Are you going to be, partying with just these 3 characters throughout the game, or?
Well, Marco and Rainy do make up the core of your team in Radiant Historia. So I mentioned it's a time travel RPG at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I want to make a spoiler alert to anyone who's watching now. This is hours into the game, but essentially what happens when you first start out is that your commander Heiss, when he's sending you out to start this mission, and you're rendezvousing with a spy who is bringing information from the Kingdom of Granorg, and you guys as part of the Kingdom of Alistel who are at war with them, and the evil queen of Granorg is trying to take over the world, and you meet with this spy, but you get there too late, and the spy is killed. And it's just a couple hours into the game. It's part of the game's introduction, and you were given a gift by Heiss when you set out. He gave it to you as a good luck charm, the White Chronicle. What happens, though, is when you barely escape from that assassination attempt and the ambush that ensues, you awaken in this other time and this other place, and you are greeted by 2 creatures who tell you that the White Chronicle is a powerful weapon or element of time, a tool of time, and you use the White Chronicle then to go back and use the information you had to change what happened at that time. So here we are much later in the game, and we're at a critical point. We're in the Kingdom of Celestia, and here the Satiros, this is a race of animal-like humanoids, I guess you could say. They are threatened by an attack from your actual kingdom, Alistel, and there's a lot of political intrigue that goes on, betrayals and surprises, and again, you don't want to be watching this if you're really looking forward to the story of the game, just mute it. But the bottom line is we're going to be presented with a choice, and I'll skip ahead to that. We can nominate Raul, who is a young strategist. This is basically who we want to lead us into battle against Alistel. Or Roche, who is his grapple arm is damaged. He gets a lot of his confidence through his mechanical arm. And if we choose Raul, we'll actually end up discovering that this is an untrue timeline, or this is a false timeline. We're given a quick explanation that Raul kind of leads us to defeat, and then we end up back here. And we're basically told by Lipti and Tio, the two creatures that were tied to the White Chronicle, that we have to go back and find out the true path. If we had nominated Roche to lead us into battle, however, we would have actually had to go way back in time because we have to restore his arm, which is damaged.
Wow.
And basically the timelines fork. You'll find all sorts of false paths that you'll have to come back from. You'll make changes in the past that affect the future, multiple timelines perhaps, and you're able to freely jump from time node to time node as you see fit in the course of completing the game story and getting at the bottom of the unrest that's threatened your kingdom and the kind of the evil characters in the game that are moving the pieces of the story to their own will.
So does that kind of change up the ending then?
There are multiple endings. It does change the ending, and there are a lot of paths that you'll go down that you'll ultimately, I mean, it'll be in a way a sort of ending, but you'll have to bounce back from it and then ultimately arrive at the true ending. The game does give you a lot of flexibility in terms of being able to navigate the timeline. And actually, really quickly, we'll go to the White Chronicle, and I'll just ask anyone again who's wary of spoilers to look away. We can go to the timeline of the game, and I can show you very quickly how things fork, how things branch out. Here we have an idea of the timeline. Again, look away, spoilers. But you know, this would be the beginning of the game here, and
so like major moments in time.
Exactly. From the very beginning, things fork. Here we have a decision that we would have made that would have ended in a false history that we would have had to bounce back from and make another decision. And the game, you know, there are multiple paths to follow. Ultimately, there is a true history that you want to arrive at, but the game has multiple endings. It's an incredibly satisfying narrative and full of, I would say, you know, a few JRPG cliches, but a lot of cliche breaking moments as well.
All right, very cool. Now, before we wrap up here, what is this?
Yeah, so we're really excited to be able to include a soundtrack CD in every launch copy of the game, and the soundtrack was composed by Yoko Shimomura, who worked on
Kingdom
a number,
Hearts.
exactly, Kingdom Hearts. She has, her reputation precedes her, and you know, obviously the community loves her, and this is a special CD of piano arrangements from some of the game's select tracks. I personally dug the soundtrack. It reminded me of some of my other favorite 16-bit time travel JRPGs, and we think the fans will think the same way.
Oh, excellent. So when is the game coming out and on what platform?
Comes out for Nintendo DS on February 22nd.
All right, well, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
And that was our look at Radiant Historia. Now on with the rest of the show. And that was our look at Radiant Historia. I'll have a preview going up a little later next week. Now, Sean, we have a Supremacy MMA thing going up.
That's right, we've got a video feature coming up related to the upcoming MMA game Supremacy MMA, and this is sort of a recap of a recent Gens Pulver fight. Now, the fight itself only lasted about 49 seconds, but the good news is that this recap is a stunning 3 minutes long. Let's find out how that math works right now.
Feature.
This is my last march. This is it. I owe it to myself and all the bunk things I've been through. I owe it to myself to go out there and give it 100% one time. No excuses. I'm in the gym of my dreams. I got the family of my dreams. I have everything I want in front of me. And you know what? My family's been through enough. It's time to step up and do something about it.
Am I done? Am I done? I ain't hanging nothing up yet. I've heard naysayers talking, and I'm willing to take their bet. You may know my name.
How you feeling, Jen?
I'm a little nervous, you know, I just want to represent this team. I've worked hard, I've trained hard, and I just got a lot of ghosts I got to beat real quick. I've had some bad demons and a rough road, so I'm excited to get out here and do this, make my camp proud, man, make the team proud.
Is that what you're fighting for tonight?
Fighting for the team and Supremacy MMA, I got to rep the game. It's just going to be chin down, hands up, listen to my coaches and see what happens.
Almost time, Jesse.
I've never fought a money man. I've never.
Please welcome back to the cage, the former UFC
super rear naked choke. Jens!
You know what, at the end of the day, everybody else knows me as the legend or the champ. I just know myself as Jan Polar 0-7. I struggle just like everybody else. I knew it was going to blow up. The song said it best. All you naysayers, I'll take your bet.
Game demo.
Hey everyone, and welcome to our daily demo. I have Ray here from Capcom, producer on Bionic Commando Rearmed 2. So the second one coming out soon. What can you tell us about the sequel?
So of course, as you mentioned, this is the sequel to the highly critically and fan appreciated game Bionic Commando Rearmed 1, which was a reimagining of the NES version of the classic.
Swinging.
Yeah, the swinging classic, extremely hard. I never actually got past the first level. The NES version of Bionic Commando. So this basically kind of continues along the same storyline and the same precedent that Bionic Commando Rearmed 1 of taking very classic, tried and true gameplay that fans are really appreciate and really know about, and they know what they're getting into. And basically added some new elements to the formula, along with advance the storyline, put new features into the game, and kind of bring it a little more contemporary. Because gamers want more content on it. And the original ones are very stripped down, and I think we were able to get a good balance of getting extra content in the game, extra features, but it still feels like a pretty NES game, you know.
So still hard. That's what you're getting at.
It's hard. Oh, well, you got the guys who they both managed to die at the same time. You know, you guys were supposed to be good. But
so we have two guys playing off to the side cooperatively. Yeah. So there is jumping and swinging.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys if anyone's really kept up with the title, you know, it's kind of a new thing to jump it. In any other title, it'd be like, oh, whoop you friggin' do. But you know, traditionally the game didn't include jumping. You know, there's a lot of theories where be it technical or design or just for whatever coincidence, it gave a lot of charm to the game. And you know, there was a little bit of controversy, especially with the extreme purists, which we know and appreciate. We added a jump in the game to make the game feel more natural. I mean, it's just games, you jump, and it's a very small jump. It's made to really make things more natural for you, more intuitive is the word I'm looking for. But you know, we recognize that there are purists out there that like the fact you don't jump. So there is a mode in the game where you don't jump in the game.
So there's a no jump mode.
Yeah, there's basically a no jump mode. Of course, it's an achievement attached to that. And I think it's one of the hardest achievements in the game because.
I bet.
Yeah.
Jumping's kind of just second nature.
Yeah, it is. But again, as you guys see in the gameplay, it's very small. The game is still really concentrated on swinging around. That is how you get around. Walking is very secondary, and jumping is just a little.
Nice to have.
Yeah, it's just like, it feels right.
Yeah. Okay, so what other features that you mentioned are included?
Okay, so we have in the game, we added our active and passive abilities. These are basically abilities that you give to the player. The passive ones let you, or basically they're attributes that you give to the player that you don't have to do anything with, like health regeneration, treasure radar to help you find objects.
I see all the upgrades here.
Yeah, we're kind of going through the menu here. These are the active ones. They're more offensive. They're attributes mostly of the arm that gives you more offensive capabilities, like an uppercut, a whip around, drones. And of course we have a whole ton of weapons in the game too, and the guys here will kind of show you the different weapons as they play. They'll make it look pretty.
Let's see some new weapons.
Yeah. This is actually kind of an interesting part. The title still has like very minor puzzle elements in the game, and this is like finding a way to get around these gas vents. So these guys are going to try to figure it out.
Very much a cooperative game.
Yeah, and then you'll notice that as you kind of get farther away, the screen will kind of zoom out, but that'll only go to a limit. Like he's going to die right there. If the second player gets off the screen too far, a timer will come up, and you have like 5 seconds for him to get back
into the screen.
Yeah, and the whole idea is that it makes the game feel more cooperative. So it's not just you can't just run off and do your own thing. It's more like you have to actively keep your characters on the screen. And for a game that is heavy on verticality and platforming, that just adds a little metagame to it. And speaking of metagames, there's also like in Bionic Commando Rearmed 1, we will time your completion of the levels. Like, so this is kind of like an alternate path that they took. There might be a way to get around it. We'll let you guys figure that one out. He's showing the cool electroshock hook. It does a nice area of effect. If someone's standing on a platform, you can shock the platform and take them all out too. All the weapons are upgradable up 2 or 3 levels. All the components are, so it's not just so like right now he just used the Wasp bazooka, and that's like the fully loaded version of it. Yeah.
Nice.
And I think they're going to be getting to pretty soon to a sniper event. It's something that we took over from the Game Boy version of Bionic Commando. They had these little sniper breaks. So, it's kind of like a little nice break in the action. I don't know if they're going to make it. They both jumped off to their doom.
Oh, so how far are we into the game right now? Like, where are we at?
Oh, we're kind of midway through. So the platforming is a little more difficult.
Yeah.
So it's not the easiest part in the world. You'll notice there's a lot of this is a really good example of the graphic upgrade that we've done to the game. There's a lot more layers to the levels going back and forth. The Rearmed was almost a one-for-one reimagining of the NES one. So everything was very flat. It was very on one plane.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of depth of field going on in the background and the foreground, objects going on, and really cool particle effects. So I think a lot of gamers really appreciate it. So here's that sniper event. And you can use it to basically clear out a section for you. It'll help with that guy. There's a big guy shooting that napalm, which you actually can't shoot. You have to let it crash. You kind of got to do a Top Gun and hit the brakes and let him fly right by you.
Now, you guys generally incorporate like fan feedback into your titles. Like, what did you guys kind of take into consideration when making this one?
So a lot of the things we took into consideration, we did for Bionic Commando Rearmed 1, where we got a lot of feedback. In this age of internet, it's really easy to get feedback without.
Oh, yes, it is.
So we actually created a patch that kind of tweaked the swing, how you release. It's really hard to explain, but until you play the game, you kind of see how you see how we changed it, made it more natural. And we actually put that into the patch, and actually that goes along into this game too. So we kind of put that stuff in here already. So a lot of the feedback that we got on BCR 1. So as being a sequel, we're really fortunate where we can actually incorporate that into it. And I'm sure if we ever do a BCR Rearmed, Bionic Commando Rearmed 3, whatever feedback we get on this version, we can incorporate it in that. Because it's a really big thing that we do at Capcom is, anonymously or openly on our website, we do look for a lot of feedback.
And you do read it.
Yes. And the team that did this patch art, they're very, very close and connected with the IP. They love Bionic Commando, and we're very keen on fixing any of the mistakes that Bionic Commando Rearmed 1 had.
And do you want to, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm saying, which by the way, what you guys are hearing is also music, the same composer, because the Bionic Commando Rearmed 1 had everyone loved the music. Whether they can get past level 1 or not, they just thought that music was really cool. So we're using the same composer.
Okay, cool. So do you guys want to jump ahead and check out another level?
Yeah, so these guys are going to go and change to, what level are we going to? We're going to go to the Bionic Labs again. This is a new level that we haven't shown yet, too much of at least. I think we might have shown some screenshots, but this one is really late in the game, so you might see these guys die a lot. But I think that's just a testament to you gotta have guys that have played the game a lot, but still, are dying a bit here and there. So this is normal mode. So there is an easy mode that actually changes some of the platforms. So yeah, to make it a bit easier. But there's gonna be a lot of guys that I don't need easy mode. I'll play on hard or hardcore.
So there are 4 difficulties.
Yes. Okay. Well, there's 4 different modes. 3 of them are difficulties, and the last one is the no jump mode.
Okay.
And this is a good example of if you want to get to the level as fast as you can to get a good time.
Yeah.
You have an option. You either take the platform or hit the turrets and just bypass it as quick as you can. So speed runs are still a really big thing in this game as well.
So all the modes there are included.
Yeah. We also have the. So aside from co-op mode, there'll also be the challenge rooms are also returning. We have a whole new set of challenge rooms just to frustrate you and just, you're gonna find some that are easy, but of course you're gonna have ones that are almost infuriating hard. But
yeah. Now I see why you kind of let the other people play as you tell me about the game.
Yeah, it's this is like actually a very hard game to actually speak and play at the same time. But these guys are doing pretty well. So yeah, this, as I mentioned before, this is pretty late in the game. I don't think we're gonna have any spoilers in here, but this is basically in a Bionic Labs where you're chasing someone down, and you get some really cool story parts in it, but I don't think we're gonna get to see them today.
Okay.
And you're seeing some of the new enemies. Those guys, the pulse droids, they are. They actually don't actively hurt you, but that shield is pretty much impenetrable, and they'll just push you off a platform, and they strategically hover right around a hook point, so you can't hook it. You have to wait until their shield goes down, and then you can exact sweet vengeance on them.
Oh, sounds like a challenge. Yeah. All right, very cool. So when does the game come out, and on what platform?
So it's coming out on XBLA and PSN on next week on February 1st and 2nd.
All right,
so be on the lookout.
Well, thank you so much for coming by.
No problem.
And thank you guys for playing off to the side.
Thank
and
you.
that was our look at Bionic Commando Rearmed 2. Now on with the rest of the show. And now it's trivia time. And in case you guys are wondering why I'm wearing different outfits during demos, I just want to say, at least I come into work wearing a full outfit.
Sophia,
Sean.
I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't the foggiest idea what you might be referring to.
Anyway, our trivia is going to be pretty easy today. We have some codes for Dream Chronicles, a game on the PlayStation Network. If you're interested in receiving a code, you can email us at onthespot@gamespot.com or tell us you want the code in the Answer Trivia button module on the side of the page. And that about wraps up our show for Saturday. It was a busy week this week.
There was a whole lot going on this week, so make sure that you guys don't overlook a really cool video feature we put up on the site yesterday. Earlier this week, we had Capcom and a whole bunch of Marvel vs. Capcom 3 fans drop by the office for this really big tournament. It was really intense. Some blood was drawn. There was a small fire at one point, and we've got a 3-part video recap of that tournament coming up, and we put the first part up yesterday, so be sure to have a look at that.
I think I missed the fire, but as Tor mentioned earlier, the PSP2 or the NGP was announced this week, and we have a lot of content on the site, so be sure to check that out. And for all of us at Today on the Spot, I'm Sophia Tong.
And I'm Sean McInnes.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Where was this fire?
The new piece of tech sports the robust. The new piece of tech. See, now you cursed me. This new piece of tech. See.